My name is Talmadge Hayes. My father died when I was 9 months old. Yeah, I didn't think that I was going to prison for those crimes.
Eileen Ryan, and I have drug addiction and alcoholism. What I realized is that there was nothing I could do about this to get myself out of it. There was no one who could get me out of it. I was pissed I got caught.
And they gave me 2 life sentences, 25 to life. That's a 50 mandatory. Sent me off to prison.
Just because you mess up, it's not over. I would realize I was worth it.
So the first thing I did, I got my GED.
You need the people to build you up and hold you up. Otherwise, you don't get there by yourself.
Good morning, good morning. You know, we can set the atmosphere for what we're gonna do today.
I was born in Cuba, but I came over to the United States when I was 4 years old. So actually, I'm a United States citizen. I bleed red, white, and blue.
How many of y'all love football in here? You played Pop Warner, high school, maybe college?
But I grew up in New York City, loving parents, hardworking parents. As I grew up in the neighborhood, I saw that the role models were the guys that were selling drugs and making the fast money.
Use your imagination on this real quick. You're at the Super Bowl and you're down 6 touchdowns. Can you win the game? It's possible, but not likely. You're looking, things are bad, you're disappointed, but it's halftime, gentlemen.
That's how I got into crime. I ended up spending 12 years in prison, was able to be exonerated from 3 life sentences. Had 28 armed robberies, 19 armed kidnappings.
And you come into the locker room. In the locker room, that's where you contemplate what you've been doing. You set up new strategies because you still have a second half. It's in the locker room where you start to evaluate, do I need to step up my defense, my offense? Do I need to step up my running game? You're in the locker room. Look around you.
When I got out of prison, I was determined not to ever go back. And I did whatever I had to do. And I believe that that's an attitude we have to have when we're ready to get out, way before when we get out.
Most of society says you cannot win. Not likely, but is it possible? Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
My story is the same as everyone else's. Full of poverty, but full of love in the house. Mom having to work 3, 4, 5 jobs. Dad didn't make it work, so dad's not around as he should be. Overall tough situation, and I tried to do everything I could to bring us up to par with the Joneses. I started looking to the streets to figure out how I can create an opportunity for myself and my family to come out of that impoverished situation. That opportunity turned into drugs and robbing. Wasn't good at it because I got arrested and incarcerated for 21 years.
Peace and love, man. How the family doing? I said family because, you can talk about allies, but then you can talk about relatives, right? One time when people go to war for this country, some allies say, I ain't doing it, right? But relatives, we're going through it, whatever together. All right, so family, what's up?
My crimes were murder, aggravated assault with a firearm, attempted murder, armed robbery, felony causing great and serious bodily harm, and battery on a Leo. But those were my crimes. Actually, I was in prison for bad decision making.
What we come in here to talk about today is how we can win that game down 6. So y'all can do it. I did it. These brothers did it. You got brothers here that did 4 hours in jail and they did it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the point is this: how do you do it? How do you connect to them resources? How do you connect the guidance? How do you connect the mentorship? All the things we need to succeed, we ain't connect to them right at this point. I'm lying? Like Kodak Black said, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I got a feather in my hat, but come on, man, you got to be tripping if you think I'm flying.
But I probably spent the first quarter of my sentence just doing wild stuff. Accumulated 32 DRs, disciplinary reports, in the first 13 months of my incarceration because I was just wild and confused and didn't know which way was up. I was suffering from trauma of all my life, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to release it. I didn't know how to process and vent or to release that pain that was in me. Actually, I didn't even know it was pain in there. I was just existing.
How many people can agree that we done been traumatized in our life? Trauma is a thing, and they got a thing called chronic trauma. Y'all heard of Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre with the album called Chronic, right? You might know about chronic from that aspect, but chronic is an actual medical term, bro. So chronic trauma implies that you was born in poverty. How many people was not born in poverty here? Everybody born in poverty here? Oh, look like me, I'm with y'all too then. So I know what chronic trauma is because I studied it. But chronic trauma is this, bro. You born in poverty, you see violence around you, and that's where your trauma started at. And how many people really knew that right now? You already knew that, right? Okay, you ain't gotta go to college to know that, but you know that. So now what we gonna do about that?
Eventually, during that first 13 months, I was placed in what's known as CM, closed management. Now you're incarcerated doubly now because you're in prison, in a prison. Your brain starts, either going strong one way or going weak the other way. And I chose to grab the reins and read books. I just prepared myself with education while incarcerated in that one-man cell. I started getting involved with the education department, started taking programs, I started teaching classes, and it became something that I willingly got addicted to. And I loved that addiction of learning. And so that was how I spent the remainder of my prison sentence, learning, teaching, and being teachable and coachable.
How you get out the fire of trauma, bro? You gotta go through it. How you go through it though, if you've been going through it on your own and you ain't really get through it yet? You got through the trauma yet? You figured it out?
So obviously, just some guidance.
Right, okay. I love that honesty, bro. I love that honesty, bro. You keeping it real, and that's hard, because that's traumatic. You know what I mean? It's kind of traumatic for a man to be able to say, I don't know the answer, bro. That's kind of traumatic because of what society tells us a man's supposed to be, bro. Your English caught that? All right. So you know, bro. So what this brother doing is hard right now. So here it is. How you get out the fire? What you said, champ.
Get some guidance.
What's the guidance?
Resources.
Resources. What kind of resources? Because we talking about trauma now.
It's therapy.
I'm going to drop the mic for you.
See that higher power.
Higher power. There you go. That's therapy too now. That's therapy too. So one thing I learned, right? The beginning of strategy has to have the end in mind. I got on the phone with my therapist and I say, hey, it's good to see you. She said, whoa. She said, whoa, you talk to your wife like that? I said, yeah, what you mean? She said, do you understand how that sounds to a woman? I said, what you mean? This is how I talk. And I got offensive because, we got stuff to defend because we don't understand that trauma has no hold on us. We think trauma got a hold on us, so we think the things we holding on need to be defended. So I started defending it. Man, what you talking about, therapist? I thought I was smarter than therapist then. What you talking about? In prison, I had to talk loud. What you mean? This is who I talk. I was in there 19 years, and before that, I was in the streets. So what you mean? This is how I talk. She say, that's why you're having problems with your wife. I shut up and listened because I was having problems with my wife. So I listened, bro. And I learned that there's a thing called arrested development. Me and my comrade right here had a beautiful conversation one day about it. Arrested development means that while I was in the penitentiary, my developmental process stunted. Come on, man, I went there 17, 3 months. It don't matter what year you're going. You're going at 26, and you was a father to a 3-year-old. You do 10 years, you're a father to a 13-year-old now. You don't know how to be a father to a 13-year-old unless you was a father to a 13-year-old before. But you still see your 3-year-old parenting mindset coming out. So no matter what age you went in, the arrested development is real for penitentiary individuals. So arrested development means that I'm taking stuff that would work in prison and using them out here in the free world.
Connect to the mentorship resources that are in the facility that you may be at. You are not alone. It is so many people willing to sow into your life. But one thing you got to do is something that I had to do. Take the P off pride and just ride. Just do it.
But these brothers finna drop some bricks on your head about resources and about assistance and about mentorship and things of that nature. But guess what, bro? If you don't clean up the fire, the housing we gonna get you gonna burn up. I'm lying or I'm flying. And so that's what I'm here to drop on y'all. I'm a heavy component of therapy, bro. Because we broke. We grown men and we broke. So that's what I got, man. Protect your neck. 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang Clan. Protect your neck. Protect your neck. Department of Corrections. Protect your neck. The criminal justice or injustice system. Protect your neck. Dudes who trying to trick you off the streets. Protect your neck. The driver who throws his finger at you. Protect your neck. Get therapy. That's all I got, bro.
Once I learned that this love thing and this peace thing was a real thing and it really changed behaviors and changed lives, I started to implement it in everything I did. And people might say it's because of me, but I say, nah, it's not because of me. It's because of all the backs I stand on. It's because of all the mentors that sold into me that I was able to accomplish these things and make a way for brothers behind me.
Returning citizens. All I ever was accustomed to was jailbird, ex-convict, ex-felon. But there's a shift happening now in society where we're returning citizens, and there's a lot of people that are getting out of prison doing the right thing.
The dirty word that you hear all the time is recidivism. A lot of guys are going back. A lot of my partners, some are doing life, some are dead, some OD'd. Anyway, I wasn't supposed to be here. 57 capital felonies, and God looked out. So I'm here. This is an opportunity. It's crazy. I've been out 16 years, and about 3 months ago, I'm laying in the bed with my wife, and I'm enjoying the Sealy Posturepedic.
Talk about it.
And it brought me back. When I laid in that bunk, I'm 6'4", my feet always stuck out, that hard bunk. And you know how they do when they do a shakedown if you had a Cadillac? Who doesn't know what a Cadillac is? For those who don't know, it's when you put a mattress inside another one to make it a little bit thicker. But when they do a shakedown, they take that. And I was laying in that Posturepedic and I said, you know what? We're going to have trials. I believe it's as hard out there as it was in here, or maybe even harder. Because now we have to face ourselves and realize everything that I've done. I started getting high at 11 years old, and I want to touch upon that aspect of recovery. From 11 years old till I was 34, I started smoking weed, and it blew up into a full-blown addiction. Say with me, 26. Not 26 weeks, not 26 months. It's been 26 years that I don't touch no dope.
After I beat the life sentences, I knew where I was going to go to, who I was going to hang out with, what church I would be going to, what plan did I have mapped out as soon as I stepped outside of South Florida Reception Center where I got released from. To think, well, I get out next month, I'll deal with that when I get out. Big error, big error. You have to start planning, you have to start looking ahead. And let me put in parentheses here. There's friends and family members that are still smoking pot. So you know what? There's an old saying, if you don't want a haircut, stay the heck out of the barber shop.
I gotta say this. I have a tendency, and that's something that I work on, I believe we all do, we try to present an image of what we want people to see as we are. But let's be real, we all have struggles. And they'll tell you, Darryl touched upon, you know, his Chrysler, but I just got over cancer. I was supposed to be dead. Went through chemotherapy, lost my hair, 66 pounds. I couldn't swallow, I had 2 tumors in my throat. But here I am. What I'm saying is, what we're all saying is, it really doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't make you who you are. Let me repeat that again. Whatever we did doesn't make us who we are. There was a time when I was out on the yard and they said, inmate. I'm not an inmate, I'm a convict. Who's done time for a while? I did 12 years, and back in the day when they still had cigarettes and gladiator penitentiaries, and you were proud to say I'm a convict, because a convict was someone that knew the ropes, knew what was down, wasn't in here for 11 months or whatever, had been down for a while. But now we're not convicts. We got a new term, returning citizens. And why do I mention that? Because we have to change our mentality. People are going to see you a certain way, but how you see yourself is going to reflect how they're going to treat you.
Mentorship and accountability. I have a certain group of people around me. Some are family members, another one is a pastor, and then I have close friends. And when we use the word friend, let's not use that term loosely. There's a lot of associates and a lot of people that say they're your friends, but do they have your best interest at heart? A friend is the guy that'll tell you you're doing the wrong thing and you need to get your act together. Those are the people that I want to surround myself with. That's what I'm talking about, accountability. As we grow and mature in life, these are the people that we allow into our circle, because I understand that I'm really trying to do something here. Not only stay out of prison, but stay out of that mentality. I know me. A lot of you guys know yourselves also. How many times we said we're not going to do that and we end up doing the same thing all over again. And it's a process. That's what I hear from a lot of the clients that I have now that I help when they're getting out of prison, why they relapse and they're back in prison. So then we have accountability and we have mentorship. I have an older gentleman that I love dearly. He gives me a lot of advice. He's been there, he's done that. And I sit and listen. We think we know it all. We have to sit and listen from others who've been there. And of course, everyone's life is different. We all have our own paths to take. But anything that I can pick and choose and take for my advantage to learn, that's what I will do from my mentors.
When I went in, my daughter was 12 years old. When I got out, she was 24. And I always thought that gangster was toting a gun. 28 armed robberies. Oh, that's gangster. That ain't gangster. Because when I went in, she started to lose weight. Her grades went down. My ex-wife says, all she does is ask, where's daddy? That ain't gangster. My father, who was a man's man, never showed emotion. When SWAT hit my house, they have him cornered and he's crying. Grown man. I didn't raise him that way. That's not gangster. But what we did is not who we are. I'll tell you what's gangster. When you get out now and you make sure you make every football game for your little son, that you do the homework with your daughter, that you'll be able to call your wife or your girlfriend and say, baby, put on that new dress I got you. We're going out to dinner. That's gangster. I'm going to make a prediction. Some of y'all going to be walking down the street, and people are going to say, isn't that the drug addict? Isn't that the dude that was in and out of jail? Wasn't that the guy that destroyed his family? And you'll be able to stop, look them right in the eye and say, yeah, that was me, but how you like me now? Give me 2 times. Give me 3 times. Break it down. Give yourselves a hand, man.
You have a plan. Once you get out, just be very aware that your family, they're walking on eggshells because they expect the best of us, but they're also afraid. And that's just a fact. So we don't rush anything. We do not make up for lost time. That time is gone. The only thing we have is now, and we take it slowly. Take a deep breath once you're out, and all these things will fall into place.
My parents were loving parents. Like any other young parents, they had their challenges with learning life, working low budget jobs in the 1970s, but they made it through there. I grew up in a place called Stony Brooks. It was kind of rough back in the days. We reached a point in the 1980s when something called crack cocaine came through America. And not only did it change America, it had an effect and changed my household. And I saw things in there where I saw a parent struggle with substance use. And it got so bad to the point at 15 years old, I became a 15-year-old runaway. I left. I had a journey where I went through things, sat in the same place you're sitting right now. And in life, we need mentorship. How many people believe we need mentors in life? By a show of hands. Okay. Because sometimes we think we figure it all out by ourselves, but through mentorship is what leads to our success. Believe it or not, we have to learn the importance of mentorship. And not only that, I'm going to share this one thing. Success is a process. It's not a final destination, right? One of the things we have to do is prepare and hear. Success just not going to start like hitting the light switch. You might have heard that already. It's not going to be the way we just hit a light switch. We have to prepare and hear. Because guess what? Somebody's going to give you a chance in life. How many people believe somebody's going to give them a chance in life? You got to hold it loud and proud. Guess what? Somebody will give us a chance in life, but we have to earn our stay. And you know how we earn our stay is by being prepared. What happens when somebody give you a chance and we're not ready to earn our stay? Do you think they want to give the next man that come out an opportunity? So I found myself out in the streets hustling to make extra money to pay bills. It was about survival at the time. But being out in the streets, I also picked up some bad habits. By the time I was 19 years old, I got in trouble and it was ultimately sent me on to prison. And at the age of 20, I was sentenced to 2 life sentences and 15 years in prison. Being prepared is everything. I remember coming in here, I share my story, and people, they can't believe it, but it's the truth. So I did 25 behind the wall, straight. 19 years old, got out when I was 44. I'm in my 50s now. I'll be 51 this year, right? When they talking about that old chain gang, I went through old Lake Butler. And all them rumors and stuff y'all heard, yeah, that was going on when I was there, right? You had to be built for it, tough for it back then. But I say all that to say this. When I was in prison, you couldn't drag me to a class. You couldn't make me go to a class. But I'm saying I'm not coming back to prison. I'm saying I'm going to go out there and be successful, but I wouldn't even go to class. And what happened, I was on the phone one day. I was talking to a friend girl. She said, hey, are you in school yet? I say, no, I'm on the waiting list. I sent my request already. I'm waiting. Straight telling a lie. I haven't sent one request and I don't want to go to any class. Being honest, right? But guess what? When I got off the phone with, she always asked me that question and I would always say the same. She say, that's the longest waiting list I ever seen in my life, right? And I said all that to say this. The last time I said it, I remember putting the phone on the receiver on the wall and my spirit convicted me, right? They saying, if you don't want to go to class, be a man enough and tell her you don't want to go to class, but stop telling that lie. Guess what? We tell a lie a lot of times when people are asking us things that we know is right, but we know we're dead wrong. So we have to learn to man up. So guess what? If you're not going to do right, say, hey, I don't want to do right. I just want to be in the streets. If you're telling your people, hey, I'm not coming back to prison again, pour into yourself to do all the things we need to do to not come back again. And then a mentor, somebody a little bit older than me, standing in the middle of the rec yard one day, I'll never forget. Standing in the middle of the rec yard, a guy, he say, hey, what you gonna do when you get out? And I don't want to hear that junk about you gonna get a job and stay out of trouble. Everybody say that in here. He say, how are you gonna be able to make money to live how you want to live? You was young when you came, what you gonna do? And really, I didn't have any answers right then. He say, man, take your tail to class. You out here on the rec field every day. And when he said it to me, he said, and he went to telling me about all the classes he had completed, certificates he had. So I went back to the dorm, go to my little locker. I pulled my locker out, put all my certificates on the bed. Guess how many certificates I had by that time? 2. Oh, you call it right out. That's all I had. 2. And guess what? There was 2 classes that they made me go to. Sometimes we inside, we feel we don't need a trade. We feel we don't need our GED. We feel we don't need education or even training of skills. As soon as we get out, the first thing we realize, we need that GED. We need that trade. We need those training skills. I saw the educational supervisor. I say, hey, I want to go to a class. She said, you want to go to a class? Like that. She signed me up. I got in there. And when I went to class, I realized something. That's why I needed to be all the time. I feel that I was a sharp person. You don't realize where you at until you really start to go inside that class, and it lets you know where you really at. It doesn't matter where you at. It's all about advancement. This good brother here spoke about advancement the other night to me on the phone. No matter where we at, what our level, it's always to advance and come up. And we get that by applying ourselves. Sometimes it's not all about just being in the classroom, but I share all that to share this. Once I got into class, I went savage. When I say I went savage, I went from 2 certificates to 27 certificates, right? Got vocational trades, self-betterment, went to self-betterment courses. I just started applying myself. It's like I had got the Jones for it. A lot of times we get certificates in prison and we say, oh man, this is just a prison certificate. Let me tell y'all about those prison certificates. When I went to college, when I got out, they have a thing called professional education credits, right? It's where they'll take certain certificates you have or courses you took and they'll vet it out and they'll give you some elective credit. Them same prison certificates got me 33 credits in college. That killed the year. All of that training, I said to myself, I'm glad I killed these prison certificates, like for real. That as our education level rises, the chances for recidivism reduces itself. And what that means is if we're on a 5th grade level, we get up to a 6th grade level without reading, our chances of come back, it decreases. Everybody wants the end result, but no one wants to go through the process. Success is a process. So when we come out, people have to understand we're not going to get it all overnight. So if we trust the process, it's going to grow, it's going to get better, but we have to appreciate it. One of the biggest things we do, we try to keep up with the Joneses, but no one tells us that the Joneses is broke. It's an image. And no matter what we have been through in life, no matter what it is, we always get a chance at life again. So we need to value that opportunity at chance of life and make the most of it in a positive way. So believe it, get good mentors in here. Stick around the right crowd. Get a mentor. Get on your game and put it together. Education is everything out there. Do what you can to pour into yourself. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Okay?
There's opportunity for you to do a lot of different things to help yourself be successful upon your release.
They might come out different persons than when they went in too. And they might, just, who knows, they might be an Einstein, might be a Bill Gates, somebody, anybody. Somebody good, fantastic. You never can tell.
Well, when I surround myself with the right people, I am who I hang out with. I am what I eat, right? I am what I listen to. I am what I watch on TV. Whatever I'm putting in me is exactly what's coming out of me. So if I'm surrounded with the people who are positive, who are building me up, who give me hope, who challenge me, who even sometimes have some criticism for me, if I can sit through that and look at the lesson I'm learning through that, then I actually get more empowered.
That's why I wanted you to stop talking. I believe that for a second.
And who?
Hang on.
Who knows where you're going to be a year or two after you get out? The sky is the limit. It's really up to you.
That's what it looks like.
And we're going to utilize this opportunity to spread some love.
Right.
And I did it on my own. That was that moment that I felt, okay, I'm gonna make it through this life right now.
Yeah. And to start off with, you look better than I do, so you're a step ahead.